Your grandfather bought a house on a single factory worker income. He sent kids to college without student loans. He retired comfortably at 65. He owned his home by 30. Today, even with two college-educated incomes, people can't afford a house until 35, if they can afford one at all. College costs $100,000 plus. Retirement feels impossible. This isn't about people being lazy or stupid. This is about a fundamental shift in economics. The American dream didn't disappear. The economics that made it possible changed. Today, I'm showing you exactly how. Hit subscribe because at the end I'm breaking down the one change that actually caused this. It's not what you think, and what has to happen for affordability to return. This is crucial. Let's go. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The American dream was always about three things. Buy a house. Send kids to college. Retire comfortably. For 50 years, this was achievable on a middle-class income. Not comfortable, not easy, but achievable. Today, all three are in serious doubt for most Americans. Not because people make less money. In real dollars, we make more. But because the costs of these three things have skyrocketed while wages stagnated. The math broke. Let me show you how. The baseline reality. In 1970, the median home price was $23,000. The median household income was $9,000 annually. That's a 2.5x price-to-income ratio. You could buy a house on 2.5 years of income. Today, the median home price is $430,000. The median household income is $75,000. That's a 5.7x ratio. You need almost 6 years of income to buy a median house. More than double. The wage reality. Adjusted for inflation, your grandfather's income in today's dollars was $60,000. Today's median is $75,000. You'd think affordability improved. It didn't. Why? Because housing prices skyrocketed faster than wages. His $23,000 house in 1970 would cost $180,000 in today's dollars if it just kept pace with inflation. It doesn't. It costs $430,000. Housing appreciation outpaced wage growth by 3x. That's the problem. The down payment burden. In 1970, a 20% down payment on a median house was $4,600. That's achievable by 30. Today, a 20% down payment is $86,000. That's beyond reach for most people before age 40. So what do people do? Lower down payments. 5% down means $21,500. Still difficult, but achievable. But now you're paying mortgage insurance, higher rates, taking on more debt. Your housing costs go up even more. The monthly shock. In 1970, a mortgage payment on a median house was $150 per month. Income was $9,000 per year, or $750 per month. Your housing cost was 20% of income. Today, a mortgage on median house is $2,500 per month. Income is $6,250 per month. Housing is 40% of income. Financial advisors say housing should be 28% of income. We're at 40% and climbing. People are genuinely house poor. The nominal growth illusion. People say wages have increased. They have in nominal terms. But adjusted for inflation, wage growth has been essentially flat for 40 years. Your grandfather made $60,000 per year in today's dollars. You make $75,000. That's 25% more in real income. But housing costs 2.4x as much. Food costs more. Healthcare costs more. Childcare costs more. Your 25% raise doesn't even keep pace with cost of living increases. The productivity disconnect. Here's the brutal part. Worker productivity has more than doubled since 1970. Workers produce more value, yet wages stagnated. Where did the productivity gains go? Profits, executive compensation, shareholder returns. Workers produced more value, but didn't capture it in wages. This is the core problem. The economic pie grew. The workers' slice got smaller. The job market shift. In 1970, manufacturing jobs paid well, $60,000 plus in today's dollars. You didn't need college. You could support a family. Those jobs are gone. replaced by service economy jobs paying $30,000 to $40,000. Or you need college. But college now costs $100,000 plus. So you're starting at debt, while people with grandfather's job started debt-free with $60,000 income. The path changed and became harder. The real wage data. Median wage in 1973 was $4.73 per hour in today's dollars. Median wage in 2024? $4.83 per hour. Essentially flat. Meanwhile, housing, healthcare, education, and childcare costs all doubled or tripled. Real wages stagnated while the costs of the things that build wealth exploded. That's why the American dream became unaffordable, not because people earned less, but because the essential costs rose faster. The college cost shock. In 1970, college cost $1,000 per year at a public university. In today's dollars, that's $7,000. Today, $28,000 per year. That's a 4x increase in real cost. Your grandfather paid for college from summer jobs. You need $100,000 plus in student loans. You graduate at 22 with $30,000 plus in debt. He graduated with zero debt. That's a generational disadvantage. The debt burden reality. Student loan debt is $1.7 trillion nationally. That's wealth you're never building. Every dollar paying student loans is a dollar not buying a house, not saving, not investing. The debt burden depresses economic activity, delays major life decisions, and directly reduces purchasing power. People with $30,000 in student debt have $30,000 less to put toward houses. The degree requirements shift. In 1970, you could get a middle-class job with a high school diploma. Today, you need a bachelor's degree for the same job. That degree costs $100,000 plus. So you have both higher education requirement and higher education cost. Your grandfather paid nothing to get his job. You pay $100,000 to get yours. That's a structural economic disadvantage. The ROI problem. College graduates earn more than high school graduates. But the wage premium hasn't grown much. In 1980, a college grad earned 40% more than a high school grad. Today, it's 70% more. Sounds good, but college costs 400% more. The ROI is actually negative compared to 40 years ago. You're paying more for similar advantage. That's backward. The insurance reality. In 1970, health insurance was employer-provided and cheap. Today, employer insurance costs $400 to $600 per month even after employer contribution. Deductibles are $1,000 to $6,000. Out-of-pocket costs destroy families. A serious illness can cost $50,000 plus even with insurance. Healthcare is the leading cause of bankruptcy. Your grandfather never feared medical bankruptcy. You should. The retirement threat. Healthcare in retirement is terrifyingly expensive. Medicare covers 80% of costs. You need supplemental insurance. Prescription drugs cost $500 plus per month for common medications. Long-term care costs $100,000 plus annually. Many people retire completely unprepared for healthcare costs. Your grandfather had pension plus Social Security plus minimal healthcare costs. You need investment portfolio plus Social Security plus $400,000 plus in healthcare reserves. The bar is higher. The impact on savings. Money spent on healthcare is money not saved. Money not saved is money not invested. Money not invested means no wealth accumulation. Every unexpected medical bill sets back your wealth-building plan. Your grandfather had predictable low healthcare costs. You don't. That unpredictability makes financial planning nearly impossible. You can't build wealth if you're terrified of medical bankruptcy. The monthly shock. Childcare in America costs $12,000 to $20,000 per year per child. Per child. If you have 2 kids, that's $24,000 to $40,000 annually. That's 32 to 53% of median household income. One parent's entire salary goes to childcare. That's not working anymore. That's just paying for your kids to be watched while you work. Your grandfather's wife could stay home. Today, that's financially impossible for most families. The career impact. Because childcare costs are so high, many parents, predominantly women, leave the workforce. That reduces household income. That delays wealth building. That career gap affects lifetime earnings. Your grandfather had two income earners effectively, one in workforce, one managing household. Today you need two workforce earners just to break even, and you still can't afford childcare. It's a losing game. The dual income trap. Two incomes sounds like advantage. But both parents work full-time. Both earn moderate income. All childcare costs come from that second income. So net new household income from second earner is minimal. Meanwhile, you have two working parents stressed, exhausted, with no time. It's economically inefficient and personally destructive. Your grandfather's model was actually more efficient. The housing ownership crisis. In 1970, 65% of Americans owned homes by age 30. Today, it's 35%. Home ownership overall dropped from 69% to 65% and still falling. Why? Because houses became assets, not homes. Investors buy properties. Corporations buy properties. Foreign money buys properties. Housing supply becomes restricted. Prices rise. Regular people can't afford to buy. Home ownership, the central pillar of the American dream, became unattainable for half of young people. The asset price inflation. Since 1980, housing prices tripled in real terms. Stock market went up 15x. Art market exploded. Cryptocurrency emerged. Meanwhile, your wages went up 25% in real terms. Assets inflated 10-15x. Wages inflated 1.25x. If you owned assets in 1980, you're wealthy today. If you depended on wages, you're struggling. The entire wealth-building structure shifted in favor of asset ownership. If you start without assets, you can't catch up. The rent versus own problem. In 1970, rent was 20% of income for average person. Today, it's 35%. In major cities, it's 50% plus. Rent doesn't build wealth. It builds landlord wealth. Your grandfather paid 20% of income to rent and could save 30% for down payment. Today you pay 35% to rent and have 15% left to save. Your savings rate is half. You accumulate down payment 50% slower. Homeownership delayed. Wealth building delayed. The generational wealth gap. Your grandfather bought a house for 2.5x income. Held it 40 years. House appreciated 6x. He made $400,000 profit and paid it off. He built wealth through housing. Today, someone buys house at 5.7x income. After 10 years, if lucky, it appreciates 20%. That's $86,000 profit. But they still owe $400,000. And they paid $150,000 in interest. They made $36,000 while paying $150,000 in interest. They're losing. No wealth building. Just surviving. The cumulative impact. Housing costs 40% of income instead of 20%. Healthcare costs uncertain amount. Childcare costs 30 to 50% of income if applicable. Education costs $100,000 plus debt. Transportation costs more. Food costs more. Utilities cost more. You add these up and there's no money left. Your grandfather's costs were 60 to 70% of income total. Today, they're 100% plus of income for many people. The math is broken. The savings collapse. Your grandfather saved 20 to 30% of income. You save 0 to 5% if anything. No savings means no emergency fund. One medical bill, one job loss, one crisis, and you're in debt. No wealth building. Just surviving. This is why financial stress is epidemic. It's not people being bad with money. It's costs rising faster than wages. The retirement crisis. Your grandfather retired on pension plus Social Security. Pensions are gone for most people. Social Security alone is insufficient. You need investment portfolio of $1 to $2 million to retire comfortably. But you're saving 0 to 5% on $75,000 income. You're saving $3,750 per year. At that rate, saving $2 million takes 533 years. It's mathematically impossible with current savings rates. Retirement is unrealistic for most. The wage versus cost divergence. For 50 years, wages and costs moved together. Then, they diverged. Housing, healthcare, education, childcare decoupled from wage growth. Why? Multiple factors. Globalization reduced wage pressure. Housing became investment asset instead of necessity. Healthcare monopolies raised prices, education expanded, but didn't expand value. Childcare formalized and got expensive. Each factor independently reduced affordability. Combined, they're devastating. The policy failure. Policy decisions made this worse. Zoning restricted housing supply. Student loans subsidized education inflation. Healthcare policy allowed monopoly pricing. Tax policy favored asset owners over wage earners. Each policy decision made sense at the time. Combined, they broke affordability. Nobody planned this. It's the outcome of thousands of incremental decisions that each made sense in isolation but compound negatively together. The investment financialization. Housing, education, healthcare became investment vehicles. When they're investments, prices rise until capitalized returns satisfy investors. That means prices rise above what regular wage earners can afford. Your grandfather bought a house to live in. Today's investors buy houses to profit. That changes the market fundamentally. Regular people get priced out. The wage stagnation root cause. Why did wages stagnate? Multiple factors. Globalization increased labor supply, workers in other countries competitive. Automation reduced need for workers. Labor power declined. Unions declined. Profits increased. Capital ownership concentrated. Labor has less bargaining power. Capital captures more income. Wage earners got a smaller slice of economic pie. This happened gradually over 40 years. Now it's structural. Your grandfather's path. Age 22. Graduate high school. Get factory job at $60,000 per year. Today's dollars. Zero education debt. Age 25. Married. Buy house at $23,000. 2.5x income. Small down payment. Manageable mortgage. Age 30. Pay house down 30%. Kids in public school at no cost. Wife stays home. Building equity. Age 40. House appreciating. Pay down 70%. Building wealth. Age 65. Paid off house, pension, Social Security, health care through Medicare, retirement comfortable. Your path today. Age 22. Graduate college with $30,000 debt. Get job at $60,000 per year. Similar job, more education. Monthly student loan payment $300. Age 25. Married with partner. Want to buy house at $430,000. 5.7x income. Need $86,000 down payment. Difficult to save with student loans. Age 30. House purchase delayed or impossible. Spending 40% on rent instead of building equity. Student loans still being paid. Childcare costs $20,000 per year if kids. Retirement savings impossible. Age 40. Still renting or underwater on mortgage. No wealth, no backup savings. Age 65. Social Security only, no pension, no savings, working part-time to supplement. Retirement impossible. The systemic difference. This isn't character difference. It's structural difference. The economic system changed. Your grandfather's path was achievable with high school diploma and steady work. Your path requires college, costs 400% more, while housing costs 2.4x more, healthcare costs 3x more, childcare is new expense, all with wages that grew only 25%. The system changed. It became harder. That's not failure of individuals. That's failure of system affordability. What changed fundamentally? The core change. Investment capital became the primary determinant of asset prices instead of wage income. In 1970, housing prices were set by what wage earners could afford. Today, housing prices are set by what investors will pay for return. Same with education, healthcare. Once they became profit centers, prices rose above wage earning capability. This is the actual break. Why it matters. The American dream was work hard, buy house, send kids to college, retire comfortably. That dream assumed these things would be affordable on middle-class wages. They're not anymore. The dream isn't dead. The economics that made it possible are. You can't work yourself into a house when houses cost 6x income. You can't save through education when college costs $100,000. You can't retire on Social Security when you have no savings. The math is broken. The uncomfortable truth: this won't fix itself through individual effort. You can't work harder and individually solve structural economics. You can optimize, buy cheaper house, skip expensive college, maximize savings rate. But you can't make the American dream accessible again through personal effort alone. It requires system changes. Housing policy that restricts investment and promotes supply, healthcare policy that controls costs, wage policy that ensures cost of living matching. Until those change, affordability won't improve. Subscribe right now, because next week I'm showing you the exact policy changes that actually could fix affordability, not theoretical solutions, actual specific policy changes that work in other countries. I'm also showing you the realistic strategies to build wealth even within this broken system. Comment below. What's the biggest affordability challenge you face? Housing? Education? Healthcare? Retirement? I'm reading every comment because this is what we need to talk about. Hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.